Right, hello everyone. I'm very excited to be here because I get to talk about two of my favorite things, which is Bitcoin and Prague, and how this beautifully combines together. I wasn't born in Prague, but I've lived here since the age of 2, so all my life. And just recently, in the last couple of years, I found out it's actually the perfect place to be as a hardcore Bitcoiner, because Prague is actually the Bitcoin capital of the world, and I'm gonna explain to you how. So right now, you are here in the center of Europe. Don't call it Eastern Europe. We are very sensitive about that. It's Central Europe. And already from this picture, which comes from BTC Map, btcmap.org, that's mapping where you can spend your Bitcoin, you can see that there's something special going on here in Central Europe, because there's over 1,000 places in and around Prague, in the Czech Republic, where you can spend your Bitcoin. And you can see this is one of the largest concentrations of Bitcoin accepting places around Europe. There's one comparable around Lugano, but otherwise, this is very special. Over 1,000 places. Wow. So how or why do we call Prague the Bitcoin capital of the world? So first of all, Prague is where Bitcoiners meet. And this has been the case since 2011. You might know this guy, Max Kaiser. He's a big Bitcoin evangelist, has been going on for 15 years about Bitcoin. And the very first Bitcoin conference that happened in the world was here in Prague, and Max Kaiser was there. So that's really something. 2011, the first Bitcoin conference right here in Prague. The second sort of highlight in terms of how Bitcoiners meet in Prague is from 2016. By 2016, Prague was already quite an established hub, quite an established meeting point for Bitcoiners, thanks to Paralelní polis. This picture is one that I myself took back in 2016 at the Hackers Congress Paralelní polis. And Andreas Antonopoulos back then gave one of the most powerful speeches on Bitcoin. You can still find it online, I believe. And it serves as a proof that by then, Prague was already very major in terms of Bitcoin education. Andreas was one of the best Bitcoin educators back then and still remains to this day. And also, most recently, in 2023, the first BTC Prague happened, and BTC Prague is the largest Bitcoin-only conference in Europe. The first year attracted more than 5,000 people. Big shout out to Matyáš and Martin Kuchařovi, who are the founders of BTC Prague. And the video that I played before the talk comes from them, from BTC Prague, one of the most powerful Bitcoin videos I've ever seen. And you can see that Satoshi Labs was the general partner already back in 2023 of BTC Prague, which brings me to the second point why we call Prague the Bitcoin capital, because Prague is not just a meeting place of Bitcoiners. It's also where Bitcoin businesses have been thriving for a very long time, and quite a lot of Bitcoin businesses. So obviously, we have Satoshi Labs. And Satoshi Labs is an umbrella company. It's a holding with multiple Bitcoin companies underneath. So, of course, we have Trezor, the world's first hardware wallet since 2013. We have Invity, your one-stop shop for buying, selling, and saving in Bitcoin. We also have Tropic Square, the first transparent and auditable secure element. You've heard quite a lot about Tropic Square today. And we have Vexel, a private peer-to-peer marketplace for Bitcoiners. So already this one would be absolutely mind-blowing that all of these companies come from here, from Prague. But that's not all, because we also have Brains, the Bitcoin mining ecosystem company, building tools for Bitcoin miners since forever. They've been around for a very long time. We also have General Bytes. It's a Bitcoin ATM company, actually one of the largest Bitcoin ATM manufacturers in the world, also from here, from Prague. And quite recently, Firefish, which is one of the best Bitcoin-backed lending project company based on multisig and fully transparent and open source. So this is quite something. All these companies are based here in Prague and are quite integral to Bitcoin ecosystem worldwide. And also I want to highlight the longevity of some of these projects. So Brains are managing the Brains pool, used to be called Slush pool, because Slush, the founder of Trezor, also before he founded Trezor, he founded the first public mining pool, used to be called Slush pool, now it's Brains pool. And the Brains pool has the claim of most Bitcoin mined as a single entity, as a pool. Since 2010, they mined over 1.3 million Bitcoin. Since 2010, that's 15 years. And also, of course, Trezor, since 2013, 12 years, bringing you the best Bitcoin security with a fully open source approach since day one. So just think about this whole industry, this whole space, Bitcoin, has been here for like 16 years, and two of the most long-lived projects, Trezor and Brainspool, have been around for 12 and 15 years. So that is really, really amazing. Also, one special highlight in terms of Bitcoin businesses that you can find in Prague and Czech Republic is Querco. I really recommend, if you go to any restaurant, to look for this sign, look for this QR code. It's called Querco. And wherever you see this QR code, it means you can pay in Bitcoin straight from your Lightning wallet. It gets converted into fiat, so the merchant doesn't know. But it actually means that there's even more than 1,000 places around Czech Republic where you can pay with Bitcoin, because the Bitcoiners don't put all the places that have Querco on the map. So actually, it's, I would think, more than 2,000, maybe even more than 3,000 places where you can pay with Bitcoin in Czech Republic if you include this, if you include Querco. And to be fair, it's not just Prague. The whole country is really amazing. Czech Republic, I would dare to call a Bitcoin country, especially from the Bitcoin educational perspective. You may have seen this guy around here on the conference. He's called Kitsom, and he runs a YouTube channel called Bitcoinový kanál, and he has over 100,000 subscribers. It's a Bitcoin-only channel, very informative, very educative. A lot of Bitcoiners around Czech Republic owe their big thanks for discovering Bitcoin to this guy, to Bitcoinový kanál. And Czech has only 10 million speakers, so 100,000 subscribers. It's a channel in Czech, of course. So it's one of the largest per capita Bitcoin educator in the world. Also, Brains Publishing and other publishers are doing an amazing job in terms of publishing Bitcoin books. You can see some global books like Seyfedin Amos' Bitcoinový standard, or Anil Patel, or Vijay Boyapati. So we have quite a lot of translations, translated book from English to Czech. But we have also our own authors, like Michal Novák is around here at the conference. He wrote the Lightning Network. We have my books, and multiple other books. So, and again, it's just a small nation of 10 million speakers, and we have tens of books just on Bitcoin. So quite a lot of educational effort here. And as I said, it's not just Prague. This is the map of Czech Republic, and we have a very strong community that falls under the 21 or 21-word umbrella, the loose educators community. In here, it's called 21. And it is basically just locals meeting up for independent Bitcoin meetups. And you can see that the Czech Republic is very well covered. So the Bitcoin meetups are happening pretty much everywhere around the Czech Republic. And that covers like the bottom-up Bitcoin education. But we also have quite a strong top-down Bitcoin education in terms of how the establishment, the politicians, understand Bitcoin. So you may have seen about a year ago that there was a very special law passed that made Bitcoin exempt from the capital gains tax if you hold for more than 3 years. So we have zero capital gains tax on Bitcoin now, if you hold Bitcoin for more than 3 years. And what is maybe even more interesting is we also have zero capital gains tax on Bitcoin if you spend around $5,000 per year with Bitcoin. There is zero tax. So you can actually use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, for example, spending at restaurants with Querco, and there is zero tax obligation, which is as it should be. The state shouldn't put obstacles in front of us. And this didn't happen just by itself. It's not an accident. It's a very good result of very hard work of this guy and his organization, Czech Cryptocurrency Association, or in Czech, Česká kryptoměnová asociace. They've been working very hard for multiple years with the politicians to make this law reality. So we have the zero capital gains tax, thanks to a strong, let's say, defensive lobbying efforts of the Czech Cryptocurrency Association. I think it's actually one of the organizations that many organizations around the world could learn from, how to make that a reality. Also, this photo is from 2023, during the first BTC Prague. There was a group of German Bitcoiners who like to go around Europe and project Bitcoin logos on European buildings. So this is the Czech National Bank. This is our central bank. And one night during June 2023, during BTC Prague, there was a group of Bitcoiners that projected the Bitcoin logo on the Czech National Bank with the phrase "Study Bitcoin." Later that night, we also projected the logo on the Charles Bridge. I think this looks absolutely beautiful. But to our point, 1.5 years after a crazy group of Bitcoiners projected the logo on Czech National Bank, the Czech National Bank governor, called Aleš Michl, went on Twitter. This is from January 25, and he said, an asset under consideration is Bitcoin in terms of holdings of the Czech National Bank, in terms of holding Bitcoin on the balance sheet of the Czech Central Bank. So he actually listened to the crazy Bitcoiners, he studied Bitcoin, and he is not dismissing it like many others do. So you can see that the Czech politicians, at least, are quite open-minded. So how is all this possible? We have Bitcoiners meeting here for 15 years. We have long-lived Bitcoin businesses, beautiful educational effort, bottom-up and top-down. So how is it possible? I think it actually boils down to two phenomena. And the first one is that we call zlatý český ručičky. You can try to learn that phrase. And it means golden Czech hands. And it means that Czechs are very handy. We are innovative, and we like to tinker with stuff and think up very cool ideas like the hardware wallets and BIP39 and mining pools and stuff like that. And it's actually interesting if you look into the history of Czech inventions, there's some pretty cool stuff. So for example, Czechs invented the sugar cubes, which is very handy. Also, we discovered various forms of blood types, which is quite useful in medicine. Also, the most famous Czech invention are contact lenses, which some of you might be wearing. So that's a Czech invention. And also, we invented robots. Actually, just the word, robot, that's a Czech word. It's probably the most famous Czech word. We have seen that defenestration is also a Czech word, but we don't tend to use it that much in our daily speech. Maybe we should. But the word robot, that comes from the brothers Čapkovi. It's from one very good piece of sci-fi article, sci-fi story, which I recommend. So you can look up Karel Čapek, R-U-R. That's where the word robot comes from. It's from, I believe, 1920, so it's over 100 years old. So these are like the historical Czech inventions, but also Czechs are very handy in terms of software development nowadays, especially gaming. You may know some of these games, like the Mafia series or the Kingdom Come Deliverance series. Euro Truck Simulator is a Czech game. Beat Saber Factorio, that's one of my favorite games. So all of these games come here from Czech Republic. So you can see we are very inventive, and our inventions reach the world. And the second piece of the puzzle of why Czech Republic is the Bitcoin country, I believe, comes from our history. So this is a really short brief of our history in terms of monetary regimes. So you can see over the past 110 years, we have at least 6 monetary regimes, some of them very short-lived, like during the Nazi occupation or the post-war rationing. You have heard Matej's brief description of the monetary reform, which was actually a large-scale theft that happened in 1953. And what's also interesting, we never adopted the euro. You can see that we still pay with Czech crowns, even though we have joined the European Union in 2004. And we are one of the few remaining countries that are part of the European Union and not part of the Eurozone. And I believe that is very illustrative of our mentality, because after this history of 6 monetary regimes, which is a history of imposed monetary regimes, we have developed quite a strong distrust in authorities, and we have developed quite a strong individual independence and a character of individualism. And that is why we don't accept the imposed monetary regimes, and we rather want to choose our own money, which is Bitcoin. Thank you.